Alright, we're back from our little break. And we just finished Caleb's trip around uh, around the base of the vampires, where he's been signed up for, something close to a suicide mission. Um, so hey, there's that. Um, and we've made one choice that we kind of regret not looking for some more, increasing our replayability. Alright, let's continue then and see who we can play as next. Oh, Emem is next. Okay. Alright, so rhetoric and persuasion. Like, I don't know if I think that was like an early trailer or something for the game where they basically said Emem is the social butterfly. So, kind of the social skills are kind of what I think she should have. So that's why I'm looking at rhetoric and persuasion are probably good skills. Although I think psychology kind of also sounds like something she would get. So that would be 5. Oh, wait, that would just be generally mental. Okay. So that would be 30. Rhetoric would be 60. So we can't get those at the same time. And deduction would be 60 as well. And disciplines. Premonitions. When one of your actions increases the risk of an opponent's focus, the increase is reduced by 30%. Okay, but we can't pick any of these. Fleetness. In certain situations, allows you to slow down the environment. Environment. Um, environment around the character while using celerity vision. There is no hunger costs. Celerity interactions like pickpocket are available in this state. The hunger cost depends on your celerity rating and the difficulty of the interaction. So, but I think I'm going to spend something in skills. And I might go with deduction. I don't know. Deduction, rhetoric. Let's see, psychology would be 30. But we only have 70. The question is, do I take the one with the more points? Probably. Because I can really only invest in persuasion or psychology. So persuasion, well, like, I can do these two. Whoops. I can do these two together. Or this one. So I could do psychology and technology. I want all of these skills. Can't I just pick all of them? I think I'll go with deduction. Screw it. We're already, 2 points on that, so kind of go into extremes on some of them and be done with it. Oh, I could have spent like 5 points on the other one. Let's see what our decision from last time
I'm guessing
does.
you tipped Pizori off to the traitor?
Yes.
Any news?
Nothing since Richard's report. My city is in danger. Everything I've built, all the dreams I've invested. That Judas is a threat to everything.
Not for long. You'll bounce back.
Yes. Congratulations on your negotiations with the Chantry. Our agreement with Hartford is crucial.
Yeah. What did I want to say? Well, yeah, one thing. I could have spent like 5 points on the upgrading one of the top 3 at least, and I forgot about that. And I forgot what else I wanted to say, so just go on. I think we should acknowledge that we made a choice for the prince. Oh yeah, now I remember. I just realized that I would wish a little bit that there was more immediate reaction to some of the decisions we made or things we found or something. It instead of having it just listed on that summary page, it would have been kind of nice if they instead had integrated it into these conversations.
I almost didn't make it out. I could have ended up a guinea pig in their strange experiments.
Don't be ridiculous. We would have realized you'd gone missing soon enough. I would have sent someone to get you. Ugh, that's enough brooding. That's not why I brought you here.
That's not what I meant to say.
I have a favor to ask of you.
What a surprise.
About what I told you earlier concerning Delson and Long Island. I've got a plan.
Oh, I know that look. Hazel.
This is the best moment to strike.
That sounds like the definition of rushing into things.
Yes, but we have no choice. Delson?
We need to blind them, from the inside. They know too much about it. We have to change that. For that, we need someone to hit them with a surprise attack from within their compound.
I wish that person luck.
It's you.
That's way out of my league.
Hazel's not asking for your opinion. You proved you were reliable with Hartford. We need your skill sets for such a risky and vital task.
That's precisely what's got me on edge.
It's your chance to prove to the court once and for all that you deserve a place on the council, Emem. After this, you'll be untouchable.
I sure hope so. All right. How do I get on this island? By boat?
I doubt it. Coastline's under surveillance.
So I swim across. All right. What then?
Kaya's wrote a program that can help us. If you can upload it into their system, it'll corrupt all the data they've got in their database. Their systems, the archives, it'll all be lost.
Allowing us to cover our tracks.
It's our best shot at making it through this. You'll just have to insert it into a computer that's on their network. That's absolutely essential. Any questions?
Can I repick my skills? I should have gone for computers technology.
Your plan sounds pretty old school. There's no way to do that remotely?
We've tried, but Leto's agents weren't able to breach their security. Their network's too highly protected. That's why we need you.
I see. Am I allowed to take a partner? I'd feel a lot better about this if I had someone covering my back.
I understand, but that's not possible. We're already taking a risk by sending a person in to infiltrate their hideout.
Got it. So, let me get this straight. You want me to infiltrate the enemy base alone? The same enemies who just slaughtered half the camp.
Quit whining. You can have help.
Oh, really?
Your task will not be easy. You'll need a diversion while you sabotage their system. A raid near their base, for example.
That could work. Who will you send?
I refuse to sacrifice any more of our people, so we might as well send in the riffraff. The Anarchs could do the job.
Come again?
You heard me. I want you to go see them and convince them to go with you to Long Island.
You're trying to thin their herd.
I'm balancing the scales, that's all.
They can't stand us. They'll never agree to fight for us, let alone on their own without us.
They don't have to know they'll be alone. Lead them to believe our forces will join up with them. The SI is a threat to the entire city. They're just as concerned as we are.
That's dirty. Respec, programming, and swimming. Why didn't you expect that combination? Exactly.
Send someone else to negotiate. A real emissary.
No one else knows the Anarchs as well as you do. They go to your clubs, don't they? They know who you are. They know they can trust you.
I barely know them. I see a couple of them once in a while, but that's it. We're not exactly friends.
You're still in the best position to negotiate with them.
Yeah. I'm not comfortable with the idea of sending them to be slaughtered. It's despicable.
It's just politics, and it's probably your only chance to come back in one piece.
What if I refuse?
I won't let you. Your conscience is of no concern to me. The only thing that matters is our survival. And too bad if it keeps you up at night.
The true face of the Camarilla. Right then. Let's say I agree.
You don't have a choice, but I'll humor you.
How am I supposed to go about it? I can't just go chasing down every Anarch I know to ask for their help.
There's only one Anarch that counts. Their Baron.
Randall Thane?
That's right. He's in charge of the various Anarch gangs in the region. I don't know where he is right now. You'll need to use your network.
I've got an idea of who I can ask. What can I use as leverage if they try to negotiate?
Money, favors. Offer them whatever seems useful.
All right.
One more thing. Don't tell anyone about your task, not even your sire. I don't want the council poking their noses into this. That will be all. I'm counting on you, Emem. Be careful, and good luck.
I'm gonna need it.
Oh, hi Tony. How's it going? I'm doing well. We're doing a lot of vampire stuff here. Oh, talking about my sire. Nah, we're not supposed to tell you anything. Hello,
Sorry, Miss Lewis. You can't come through here.
yeah. Hope you're having a good Sunday. Just got home half an hour ago. Okay. I hope it wasn't too stressful a Sunday that you got home from, but rather fun or relaxing stuff. Yeah. No, I'm having a good time. We've done some interesting things, discovered some fun story, so it's going well so far. And I guess now...
Emem, there you are. I'm sorry I wasn't here to meet you when you got back. I was busy.
So here's the thing. We know from the start that Emem and Hilda broke up, and that Emem is a bit annoyed by Hilda always coming by and asking weird, sticking her nose into her business. So, you don't ask her where she went. You don't tell her you miss her. So basically, we only have the one choice that makes sense right now. I guess the conversation will be a bit longer, but let's see where that gets us. Visiting parents, so stressful as always, but in the normal way. Yeah. There's always something to do and things like that, but, they're the parents, it's fine. I get that, yeah. Enjoy being here in this fantasy world, and, yeah. Let's find out what happened.
Sorry, babe, you're a little late. Hazel's sending me back out there. I can't hang around.
Babe.
What's wrong with you?
You haven't spoken to me like that since our breakup. I'm just a little surprised.
Oh.
What are you talking about?
Oh.
We never...
Broke up? It's been 30 years, Emem.
What? I don't remember.
Come on. I get the feeling we need to clear up a few things.
Yeah.
Ah, that's the lost memory. That was clever. Okay.
Come on. Tell me what's going on.
The Warlocks. I knew their library would leave a mark. They fucked with my head.
So, if I understand right, you have no memory of our breakup.
None whatsoever. I really thought that
There's a reason the Warlocks have a bad reputation.
And you said it's been 30 years?
More or less.
That seems like forever. And then again, the blink of an eye for us.
Believe me, it's been a long 30 years.
So here's the thing, do I roleplay or do I go for a good ending, so to say? Because, she would have the drive to still trust her, but then you say, oh, we broke up? I hope that doesn't make her leak anything.
When I was there with the Tremere, I saw things, glimpses of the past. It was like I was reliving certain episodes of my past. I guess that's what Osborne meant when he told me about the memories.
What exactly did you see?
I saw my attack with the Knights. I need to know. What happened after that? Did they pay for what they did to me?
It's a long story, Mem. And it's not really a happy one.
That's all the more reason. I want to know what happened. It's my memory, not some game.
Exactly. I don't want to see you suffer again. I won't allow it.
But it's not your choice. It's not you we're talking about, it's me. I can't just sit here not knowing.
I won't tell you a thing.
Hilda, please.
I said no. There's no point in insisting.
Fine. Whatever you want.
Okay. So at least now we have a reminder why we broke up, I guess.
That's all.
I'm sorry you had to go through that again. I can't imagine how upsetting it must have been.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me.
I'm sorry. I've gotta go. I need to take some time to process all of this. The prince is sending me out on another task. I can't screw up.
What kind of task?
I'm sorry, but I can't talk about it. Hazel made that exceedingly clear. If she thinks things are better like that, I believe her.
For God's sake, Emem, I'm your sire. You should trust me, not that snake in the grass.
Personally, I've never had anything bad to say about Hazel.
Unlike me. Is that it? You'd be singing a different tune if you knew what I know.
If I knew what?
Nothing. You wouldn't believe me anyways.
I have no idea what kind of a dialogue these would lead to. She said too much.
Fine.
I don't know.
I'll just make your life miserable until you spill the beans.
Seriously?
You know how stubborn I can be when I want something.
Hazel's a smart woman. She knows what she needs to do to get what she wants. And she wants you.
That's going too far.
You think it's an honor, but you should really be worried. Hazel never does anything she's not sure she'll benefit from, which means she's got ways to make you bend to her will. She's careful to hide her secrets from you, safe behind her herald. Tonight could be your last chance to discover them. Very well, let's move on. You're right. You should go get some rest, and do think over what we've discussed. Promise me you'll be careful.
I'll try.
Okay, that was at least an interesting twist.
Alcohol. Ugh. I always hated that smell.
Alright. So, what can we look at here?
Alcohol. Ugh. I always hated that smell.
There wasn't any... What?
Alcohol.
Okay.
Ugh. I always hated that smell.
Yeah.
Zhu Fang? I didn't know that Caleb's protege was such a big deal.
Did we... I don't think we have done that yet. I guess we'll try it out. Because we didn't... It's a bit because I didn't get the chance to follow that with Caleb.
What eternity can offer. Death? The feeling isn't as unpleasant as one might expect.
Death?
It's nothing compared to what eternity can offer.
Unfortunately, I'll have to take your word for it.
Oh, you'll discover it for yourself soon enough, my dear. I'm sure of that.
Okay. So that's interesting. He's kind of luring her in, telling her about all the things she's missing.
Do you think we have time to just laze around? You need to be fast and effective. Destroy anything we don't need. Keep what's important. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Miss Bosley.
You're a good kid, Lazarus. I need a drink. Now, shake a leg.
tag. All right, you heard her. Double time.
I'd better hurry.
Is there anything interesting in here? Presentation of the annual report. Unification party starts when all guests have arrived. Tour of Dr. Dunham's Red Salon. Audience. Meeting with Mr. Underwood. Dunham thaumaturges into the sorry. Mr. Rory and Mr. Leto. Action for once. For once, I wanted to say just how much progress Journey has made in organizing the opening night of the Red Salon. I stopped by for a surprise visit last night to check the quality of the services, and you did not disappoint. Please don't embarrass us in front of Hartford. Although the most important guests will most likely arrive late, be ready by 9 p.m. because you never know. Please check the following things every 15 minutes. State of the vessels. No excessive drunkenness unless desired by one of our guests. Impeccable cleanliness everywhere, all the time. Make sure that everyone is comfortable. There are enough of you to satisfy any request. If there is a problem, page me. Make sure that no one is bored while waiting for Miss Iverson and Mr. Osborne to arrive. They're scheduled to get there at 11:30 p.m. if anyone asks, but nothing's for sure as usual. This party is of the utmost importance, in the words of Miss Iverson. Please, mistakes will not be tolerated. April Bosley. Okay. Not really any big secrets.
If Zeus had chosen a flower to reign over all others, the rose would be queen.
Oh, what's this? Private elevator. Huh.
A direct route to the prince's apartments. April plays the guard dog. The Swan's Nest. I hope it's worth it.
This may be a big mistake.
I didn't know Hazel was into music.
BFDAC. That could be a code for somewhere. Okay, that wasn't too informative. My dear John, you know the high regard I have for your advice and the even higher value I place on your our special arrangement. That is why I ask you to carry out the task we discussed yesterday, a task that you were extremely reluctant to undertake. I appreciate your objections, but the Hartford Chantry is our best option right now. When I say right now, it is because I'm counting on the situation changing. A change you yourself would be party to. In the interest of my projects, I cannot reveal the details, especially in writing, but keep in mind that I know where you are from and what your ancestors went through. Hartford is nothing more than a means, a tool. A tool can be replaced. Help me, and when time comes, I will help you. Fondly, Hazel Iverson, Prince of Boston. Okay. Confidential. My prince, I have passed you a request for more information about Mr. Underwood to Jason Moore. I can only congratulate you for taking such an initiative. I observed a steady increase in Mr. Underwood's contacts with mortals around the globe, particularly in South America and India. He's very secretive, but he hides his financial transactions better than his contacts. He has a need to control everything at all times and uses every channel at his disposal to keep up with the latest news. Like most blue bloods, he is a workaholic who trusts no one but himself. Since he became Caleb Bazori's child, the family business he inherited has grown into a vast, sprawling network that controls the sugar industry from production to sales. He has often flouted the rules of the Masquerade. I suspect that he has even gone against many of our principles on several occasions. In any case, without being able to prove it, I wouldn't be surprised. At court, Mr. Underwood is a veritable fox. He knows how to increase his influence, especially since Mr. Bazori has taken a step back. In fact, he is the most prominent member of your clan after yourself, but he has also close ties to the members of your Primogen, Hilda McAndrews in particular, but also to a lesser extent Richard Dunham. So I guess the money being redirected might be by Underwood, the Dunham money. The interdependence he has cultivated makes him a threat to your interests. It would be very easy for him to bypass your authority if he felt like it. He has many ways of applying pressure. I do not mention here the business of the other members who are dependent on his goodwill, but I am enclosing several documents showing these connections. Your devoted servant, Caius Leto.
I've always found swans very moving. They're beautiful, but full of melancholy. It's a nice symbol. I get the feeling something's missing. I get the feeling something's missing.
Alright. So we need to find some sort of seal or symbol or something circular. We don't have the key for this, I guess.
There are faint marks on the wall.
Seems as if this might be a hidden door. Ooh, what's this?
Hazel had another child before Miley? Shit, I had no idea. Seeing as how it ended, I'm not really surprised.
Destruction of Erland's cardial. Status successful. As per advance information, your child was found in a warehouse on Offenbach Street. The area was deserted. I entered the premises at approximately 2:20 a.m. When Erland's cardial saw me arrive, he seemed to understand what was going on. At first he tried to negotiate, but when I knocked him down, he quickly got up and tried to escape. It was only after he was thrown against a wall that he really understood that only one of us would ever leave the hangar. His head hit a metal railing many times. He then stopped moving altogether. I went to get the gas cans I had brought with me earlier. After spraying gasoline all over the premises, I set it on fire. I stayed there until the fire was over. Your child is now ancient history. Okay. But this could mean that they don't have a body?
I understand better now why Dijon never mentioned his sire.
My
He's
prince.
always one step ahead.
This is always one step ahead. Okay. My prince, my trip to New Orleans was not for nothing. I was able to learn a lot about Dijon Siaka's past. He is the child of one Marie de Richet. If her name isn't familiar, that's to be expected. She is rather ordinary. But interestingly enough, she had ties to the Hartford Chantry. Indeed, not long after her unauthorized embrace, she was sentenced to final death by the Hartford Tremere. Her escape led her to Louisiana, where she met Siaka. She embraced him in a voodoo ritual that I didn't understand much about. But it seems that it left a deep impression on Mr. Siaka, who has been influenced by this magic throughout his existence. It appears that he has come to New England to settle a score with Hartford. I think we could use this to our own advantage given the arrangements we envision. For example, we could make him part of the Boston court. It shouldn't be too hard to make him your puppet, especially if we promise to solve his problem. He could then be put in contact with the Chantry, perhaps a sleeper agent, or he could take on responsibilities while remaining our puppet. However, if Deneb Osborne were to discover what I have learned, Mr. Siaka's existence would undoubtedly be threatened. It's up to you to decide. However, I think that this is a golden opportunity that it would be a shame to pass up. I plan to stay a few more days to clarify some points. I'm sending you this message through a reliable servant. I will then return to the court as soon as possible. JD. Ah, there's a little gold swan that looks like it might fit the hole. Oh, that was just a reflection. I thought there was something interactable about that. Interesting. The bathtub and the step. Like that whole black area around the bathtub I can't go to. Interesting. So I guess that's the entrance to the hall. But since it's closed...
I get the feeling something's missing.
Oh, and now we have the key we need. I dislike that we can't clean up afterwards. Like, you know, you would put it back so nobody knows you were here.
I wonder if...
Oh, that's the music. The code. What was it? BFDAC. 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 B. Come on. B. F. D. A. C.
That noise. Something moved.
Oh, another secret compartment. Oop. Oh.
So Hazel has her eye on my clubs. Ugh, politics. Always politics. What's her game? Is this how she thanks her allies?
Dear Jason, as Prince of Boston, you know I'm always looking for opportunities to expand my domain. A few of my counselors have brought an opportunity to strengthen our hold on Boston's nightlife to my attention. I would like you to evaluate the acquisition of a number of venues. A specific list is attached to this letter. These venues happen to be currently used by Emem Lewis, whom you do not know very well. She's one of our kind, but I ask for your utmost discretion regarding this matter.
That explains why Hazel's holding off on Fang's embrace. Underwood. What a creep.
My prince, I have heard that you fear the departure of my dear sire, Galeb Bazori. Indeed, the progressive departure of the eldest among us is a matter of concern, especially when it involves such a loyal and valuable element as Galeb. Nevertheless, I believe I have a way to keep him at your disposal for a while longer. My sire is rather infatuated with a promising young woman. He wishes to embrace her, more than I have ever seen him desire anything. Why, you may ask? Why choose to have another child when you already have a child as accomplished as myself? I wouldn't dare to comment on the subject myself, and would join you in your question. So this Su Feng, as the object of his desires is named, should be formally presented to you very soon. You know how dear old Bazori stands on tradition. Of course he will only embrace her when you have given him permission to do so. That is why I suggest that you use some obscure excuse, such as the overcrowding of Boston, for example, to stall for time.
Bazori is a loyal dog, and Hazel's got him on a short leash.
During Quentin King's reign, Galeb Bazori was always above reproach, performing every task assigned to him without batting an eye. He is the consummate tool for doing dirty work, as he is cold and efficient. I won't even begin to tell you how many thin-blooded anarchs or dissidents he has faced and defeated. Such overwhelming loyalty to your predecessor would suggest that he be sidelined or even removed. Nevertheless, I urge you not to rush down this path. On the contrary, keeping Galeb Bazori as close to you as possible seems to me the wisest thing to do. Indeed, his loyalty was not to Quentin King, but to the role of the prince. And today that is you, Miss Iverson. Galeb Bazori could quickly become one of your best assets. I remain at your disposal to provide you with reports on his various missions, but a reading of everything seems unnecessary, as there is far too much of it. Okay, that's Jara.
Hazel said there was an accident, but it was actually an execution. If Leysha were to find out...
Oh, the thick plottons. Dear Miss Iverson, it is with a heavy heart that I confirm that I carried out your orders last night. Halsey is no more, so you will most certainly experience less fear of new incidents. I have already made arrangements at the Institute for Leysha because I am certain that she will be shocked and that she will become unwell. While I understand your reasons, with all due respect, I must warn you that Halsey's disappearance will not necessarily result in increased potential for Leysha to have visions. I will tell Leysha there has been an unfortunate accident, and if required, I will manipulate her memories to avoid the worst. You can count on my discretion. I will be too regarding this matter. Sincerely yours, Dr. Dunham. So that's it. So remember, Halsey, a child turned into a vampire, I guess. So that's not something you generally do. So I guess... Or is it? I mean, that's the... It doesn't seem mentioned here. That this, you know, was something unusual. Unless... Well, it's a start at least. So we know now that for 100% sure Halsey does not exist anymore. She is a hallucination. But apparently she was a real person before. Unless... No, I guess she has have... Here's the thing. No. So, you know, I was thinking that, knowing Halsey is dead, it doesn't say when it was written. That's all we have. And it's not readable on these. In fact, I think that's the same texture twice, just one upside down. So it's unreadable. But anyway, so we know now. So the thing is, I thought, what if Halsey always was a hallucination? And he basically, you know, like erased that personality somehow. But, you know, for one thing, I don't think that's even medically possible. I think that's more something that they magic in science fiction movies and things like that. But so assuming it's not that, then that means that Halsey has to have been a real person. And then, of course, the question is, was Halsey a human child? A vampire child? You know, because it says that the Malkavians embrace people of who have special abilities. And so he might mean he cured her of the hallucination, is no more, is very vague. And also, why is it a psychologist's job to be an assassin? Yeah, exactly. It seems kind of... That part seems kind of weird. But on the other hand...
Said it was an accident, but it was actually an execution. If Leysha were to find out...
But, you know, then you hear what Emem says. And the way Emem says it. They say it was an accident, but it was actually an execution. That sounds like something... that sounds like something... You know, I don't think Emem would phrase it like that if Halsey wasn't a real person. But of course that could be the game writers just being cheeky. But, you know, in that combination, I would say either they're really trying to mislead us here, and I think it's not fair. You know, it seems that's not how Emem would think of it in her head. So, yeah, Halsey must have existed at some point. Whether as human or as a vampire, I don't know. But then why, if she was a vampire, why don't they mention, oh my god, someone turned a child? That's trouble. That's against the rules. But yeah, also he says, like, Halsey's disappearance, Halsey is no more, and that it's Richard Dunham, so the psychologist. But then, you know, you hear Leysha talking to people, and she says, can I take along Halsey, and things. So they're aware that she has Halsey still in her head and thinks she's still there. And I think wouldn't they be more worried about that? But maybe that's why Dunham was so angry about Leysha being released. You know, against his advice. Because he's kind of going, hey, we've locked her up somewhere. And because the deletion didn't work. But still, I wouldn't call that an accident. Okay. I think we've found everything. But this seems like we would want to walk up here with Leysha, of all people, if we could. That's a really swanky apartment, by the way. Maybe they think it's part of her treatment to play along. Yeah, but then, you know, why didn't any of the others mentally comment on it? And that's then the game designers trying to maintain the secret. But, yeah, it seems... I don't know. I think part of it seems to be that they're...
I should go. It's gonna be a long night. Not just yet.
Wait, let's just have a last look around. No, but I don't think I've already read that, right? Yeah. That's how she placates Dejan. We've read that one. Underwood, yeah. I mean, it makes sense that she would, you know, collect information about everyone. So if we could do visions, we could read this, find out more about this. I really think I would want to... Like, it's good that it's limited and for replayability, but on the other hand, I don't know how often I would actually try to play this game again. You know, because there are so many repeated things. And since it's all behind skill gates and not behind, you know, you're going there and then something else happens at another spot at the same time, you know, it feels less...
First, the Anarchs. But I have to find them first.
Oh, wait. Oh, that's actually the end of the mission. You decided to investigate the Prince of Boston. You discovered the Prince of Boston's best-kept secrets. Resonance bonus celerity. It's kind of annoying that once we went upstairs... I guess you can only do one of these. So are these... But you know, that kind of feels silly. That you can only go up there. Again, it's kind of forcing me to replay. By just making, no, now you cannot go elsewhere and discover something there. It's completely arbitrary. Why can't we just walk out? and, you know, continue downstairs. We have 110, so we can turn up deduction. If we want to. And what about disciplines? Psychometry. Premonition. Actually kind of tempted. Oh, and that's 90. Wait, didn't we have that already? But I thought we had that ability on 4 already. So we could turn up deduction. We could turn up education, persuasion, or psychology. I think we wanted to go up in psychology. And I guess since we have 55... So we can 30 on education, 10 on technology. Let's go with that for now. Because we don't have anyone that has much technology yet. Oh, and now, don't forget, so we could increase our social. Also that, although that doesn't seem like something Leysha would do. Physical, but mental. But there we would need 35. Okay, I guess we're leaving these 15 skill points. Because I don't think we have anything we can do for 15. Yeah, okay. Oop.
Halsey? Yes, Mom. I'm here.
Okay, this is interesting. We actually keep the burn from encountering the bad guy. Polaroid. Burn Dunham's place again. Archived confidential report. Okay, those are all those panics. Which might be attacks.
Only Richard would still use that.
Okay, I think we've read that before.
Richard must have had a breakthrough, if Hazel's interested in it. I see guilt. Richard often asked me. Hey, Pumpkin. What are you looking at?
The picture is scary.
Come now. There's nothing to be afraid of. You're not going to be afraid of a couple paintings now, are you?
No, but...
Yes, I know. It's Richard. He was angry, but he wasn't angry with you. You know...
I don't think he is. He doesn't like me following you around.
Yes, but it's because he worries you'll get hurt. Pumpkin, there are much more serious things going on right now.
Those people who put us into boxes. And who hurt you.
Yes, them. But don't be scared. Mommy's here.
I know.
I won't let anyone hurt you. Ever.
There you are. But what on earth is that mark?
I ran into an experienced Inquisitor. I was caught off guard.
Not a dangerous mission, was it? You brought back a souvenir.
I'm still in one piece. That's all that matters. Where have you been? I've been looking for you since I got back, but...
The prince hasn't given me a moment's rest since I returned.
I won't hide the fact that I was happy that you were the one to... well...
That I informed them about the Second Inquisition. Yes, I can imagine.
Everyone's petrified. I can sense it.
Hazel lost it when she found out. I had a hard time convincing her I was telling the truth.
I admit that even I...
She's going to ask for your help, I'm sure of it. She didn't follow your treatment protocol. Usually, I give you your treatment when you awaken. You're not stable, Leysha.
Enough with that already.
You failed miserably with the mission the prince gave you. That's proof of it.
What do you mean?
You didn't have a firm grasp of the risks.
How could I have guessed that...
And to top it off, you didn't bring anyone back to the prince. You'll become more and more overwhelmed by your visions and your hallucinations. All this because she's afraid. Hazel has become dependent on you.
Oh no, it's Control again. Yeah, that red and the floating stuff looked very Control. I guess we know now that she kind of dreams of something happening in the mental hospital or something.
Don't you think you're blowing things a bit out of proportion? Dependent on me?
On your visions, of course. Don't you understand? She didn't bring them up?
She did mention them in passing.
She needs your premonitions to help her anticipate the future, to try to influence the course of events.
She would like to, you mean?
What do you mean by that?
They're strange images.
You mean to say they're symbolic?
That's it, symbolic, I guess. But it's hard to say what they could mean.
That's why I don't think it's a good idea to encourage Hazel to think she can rely on your visions to serve her own ambitions. Here's a dose of your treatment. Take it immediately.
This will rid me of my premonitions. Is that it?
I don't have time to break this to you gently. I have to go straight to the point.
What are you talking about?
Leysha, Halsey isn't real.
What?
It's not true, is it?
You're the only one who sees her.
No.
Our family has a gift for seeing things.
No, Halsey is my daughter.
In your mind. It's always difficult to pull you away from her. That's why I try to treat you as soon as you awaken to keep Halsey from reappearing.
He's lying, Mom! He hates me!
You're either lying or you're wrong. I don't know which, but it's not true.
Leysha!
But Hazel sees her.
When your hallucinations increase, your premonitions do too. They become more specific and more reliable. And that's what the prince wants. But you grow increasingly catatonic. Halsey starts to take over.
No! I don't want you to leave me!
Enough! Shut up, both of you!
It's just you and me, Leysha.
Oh, no.
He's a liar! It's not true!
I regret having to inflict this terrible shock on you, each and every time.
Every time?
Leysha, the prince wants to see you, immediately.
Yes, of course. Just a minute.
I'm not supposed to be here. I should have left for the Red Salon already.
Why? No, you can't just leave like that. I have too many questions.
Hazel doesn't like to wait.
We'll have time. Go now. Obey the prince, Leysha. Stay where it's safe, and above all, drink.
There. I'm coming.
Leysha, I wanted to thank both of you for...
The prince sees me. See, Mom? Richard's a liar.
Are you all right, Leysha? You seem...
Quit pretending.
Come now, Leysha. What's wrong?
You've been pretending to see Halsey since the very beginning. Why did you lie to me?
Lie to you? I didn't lie to you. Halsey is part of you, and I accept you just the way you are. That's all.
See, the prince encourages Halsey for her own reasons, even if she doesn't see her. Yeah. So we can get to a psychology we've spec'd a lot into. So I guess that's the best we can do. But with a 39 success chance, we probably won't make it. Dang it.
You're really only interested in my visions. You've been manipulating me because you're afraid of the future.
Forget what we talked about.
Wait, what did she just... I guess she used some ability. We can't focus that. We don't have... So I guess we can't defend here. All we do is, you know, get more hunger for nothing.
No, it's nothing.
I asked for you because I need your help, again. With the SI in Boston, I need to do everything I can to protect us.
Yes.
And you can help me do that by telling me what the future holds.
It's not as simple as that. I don't choose when they happen.
Mom, listen to me.
Yes, sweetie. What is it?
There's no point. The swan will lose its head in 2 days. I just saw it. We know, Mom.
What's going on? Leysha, is Halsey speaking to you? What is she saying?
First, so I think I had problems understanding what she was saying. But I think she was saying forget what we were talking about. So, that's how it is to be on the receiving end of an ability like that. So we know we're definitely being used. Also, she just gave away that she's going to she just gave away that she can't hear Halsey. I guess we would try to not tell her anything, but I'm thinking this will lead to another confrontation.
There are too many voices, too many things inside my head. It's too much for me to see what's going to happen.
Okay. I understand. You've been through a lot.
Yes.
So I won't insist right now. Take a few hours to rest, and we'll talk later.
Thank you, Hazel.
I wonder if we get the choice to drink.
Damn it. I don't know who to believe anymore. Richard or Hazel.
Please, Mom. I'll be a good girl, I promise.
This is a tough one. Like, logically, you can see it. I mean, we've been suspecting it as players, of course. For the last few games, I've been going, like, it seems weird, that Hazel is there, Halsey is there, and things like that. We also have the out-of-game knowledge now that what Richard said is at least what he has reported to Hazel at some point. And we don't really want to do the visions. And logically, Hazel just gave away that she can't hear Halsey. But of course, Halsey is our daughter. We love her. So we don't want her to go away. So the question now is, like, with normal human medicine, I would probably say, I'd take the treatment because it can basically only bring out reality. Like, regular psychopharmaca can bring out, like, they can make you happier or sadder or things like that, or they could technically make you hallucinate things or suppress hallucinations, but they can't do anything beyond that. So assuming and you have no control if you make someone hallucinate what they are going to see. But then this is Vampire the Masquerade, where, they can make up magical concoctions that do all sort of things. Delete memories, that kind of thing. So, that makes it a little harder. But since I've played Leysha so far as someone who doesn't want the premonitions, I think I'm going to go into take the treatment. Also, because I'm curious how they'll do this. Like, will it just be she turns around and Halsey is gone? Or do we suddenly remember something and get a cutscene? Is there a dramatic scene with Halsey going like, no, mommy, I don't want to go, fading away or something? And of course, are there any, game mechanical consequences of that? Like, will we get a permanent debuff on certain skills or something? But I think here, like, we've had enough clues that I'm kind of just... It dips me over. Even though, like, of course she doesn't want her child to disappear.
You don't exist. You're just in my head.
Please don't leave me. Let me stay with you, Mom.
No, Richard is right. I need to get better.
Okay, now they just take her out of the room, I guess, and on the next turn she's gone. Or maybe it doesn't work. We got a trait, so there's some game mechanical consequence. Can we... No, we can't tap that right now. But I guess we get a memory? Such dramatic perspective.
Damn it. That hallway again. And my memory loss. Halsey. Oh, shit. I have to find Richard at the Red Salon. He's gonna have to explain this.
Ooh, okay. That was a dramatic moment, but not really... Not really giving us many answers. Oh, and now we're much better at social. Okay, that's interesting. That's something I didn't intend to spec into. Okay. Hi, Maximus. You finished the game, so now you can watch others stream it. Good, good. Come in, enjoy. But please keep in mind, please, don't tell me anything about what's going. Don't make any recommendations what I do. Even if I go, like, what should I do? I'm just asking myself. Okay, so keep that in mind. Let me discover it myself, just as you discovered it yourself. There's so many hallucinations that they have to lock them up in their own prison cell. Yeah, it sounded like there was like a dozen Leyshas and one Halsey in that cell. It seemed weird, and only one Leysha, was an actual person instead of a shadow, like the rest. It looked interesting. Alright. So the question is, oh, Maximus, don't worry, no backseat. Joined the game and you totally understand. Yeah, my problem is, I'm just at a point here where we finished the missions and we have about 15 minutes that I would usually play. So... But I think we'll just we'll play a little more. We can at least do one of these. Oh, we actually have 11:30 p.m., 10 p.m., or 9 p.m. I think I want to stay with Leysha. That kind of seems like a good choice for now. And it's also 9 p.m. It's the earliest in the timeline. So let's do this one and see. With the threat identified at last, the time has come to strike back. Hazel Iverson has devised a daring plan to outsmart the mortals. Leysha goes to Richard's blood bar, the Red Salon, where she hopes to find him. She seeks answers to her questions about her identity, her past, and her daughter. That's probably... I don't know, Maximus, how it went for you, but, like, here, playing it, I was constantly like, this seems weird with Halsey. Because Halsey did, why would you take a child to a crime scene? And also, why would someone turn a child into a vampire? That's too early. And all these things didn't add up. And so now we just finally got confirmation from the game. First by finding a note in Hazel's quarters. And then by actually talking with Richard. That, Halsey isn't real. And that's kind of... it was a nice payoff so far. So I like that. I don't know how it was for you. Did you feel similarly, or did it surprise you? Or sometimes I wish it surprised me, Like, of course, you get to feel clever when you figure it out before. But, the writers know. They give you hints, so of course you're not as clever. Halsey was so intriguing for you too, especially the fact that nobody else apart from Leysha was talking to her. Yeah, that was always... It was... Yeah, that was another aspect, yeah. There were a few people like Hazel kind of saying, oh, I sent... thank you for sending a gift for Halsey, and things like that. And then that kind of made me slightly unsure at the start. But it was like nobody dealt with Halsey. But then they were clever, She's a Malkavian, she can be invisible. And so that was always a good explanation, but the police did not see or stop her at the crime scene. That was just what I wanted to say. Yeah, at the party crime scene. She walks down the corridor, still visible, and then goes invisible. And that was kind of like, wait, is that... But I mean, I went like, okay, this could be a hint. But it also could have been a... just how, since it's not invisibility in like a scientific sense where, light is redirected around you and suddenly you're not visible anymore. There people would see a person and then pop, it would be gone or something like that. And they would go, something's not right here. But this is more psychologically, It makes you... Like, you see that if Leysha is in that invisible mode, like the nearest person to her has this fuzzy thing around their head, kind of indicating that you're actually telepathically turned, kind of make them not register you. When Richard went invisible, Leysha couldn't see him anymore. When did Richard go invisible? Like, was it just when he left? Malkavians do not see each other when they obfuscate. Yeah, I guess that too. Yeah. Alright, I guess let's go in here. Maybe we can finish this without running over too much. Oh, and we still have to pick skill points. So, I said I was thinking about speccing into technology. Also, deduction has really gotten us something. And we get a boost to psychology now. So we could do 160. I think I'll go with that. Do a singular talent. Did you find Richard? Yeah. And we talked to him and then he left. I don't actually remember how he left. But yeah, it could have been that it just went invisible. I remember vaguely that it felt kind of abrupt how he was gone. But I don't actually remember what happened to him. Well, let's see. Let's go for 160. And do we... Oh wait, what? We can boost social for free? How did that work? Okay. I guess that's nice. Yeah, and I can't spend anything else. And I don't think there were any disciplines for 5, yeah. Okay, let's go with this then. He went invisible before leaving. I recall I was wondering how I would get out past the police, and you said they can become invisible. Okay, yeah.
I get the feeling I've been here before.
Sorry, we're closed. Oh, Leysha! I'm so sorry, I didn't recognize you.
I have to see Richard.
It's kind of a bad time. There's a code red and...
I know.
Oh, is that Beryl?
Still in the
Of course
basement.
he's here.
I need you to take care of it when you're finished here.
No problem.
And if you see Wyatt, tell him I'm looking for him.
All right. If I see Wyatt, I'll tell him.
All right. So the question is, do we do anything fancy, like, you know, go invisible or something? Or do we just go, well, we can walk around here? I think I'll just go and walk around here, even if it risks... Oh, what? Okay, no, we're
So you tell us
forced.
that the SI has the address of this salon, and you come anyway!
Beryl, you shouldn't be here. They could show up at any time.
I know that. Why are you here?
You love the game, but would like to have a serious talk with the people, with the person in charge of Leysha's haircut. Yeah, it looks kind of weird, but I think, you know, that's the Malkavian thing they were going for, you know, slightly unhinged. So we can't do anything with rhetoric. Why are you here? I guess we're just saying looking for Richard. it makes sense for Leysha, you know. I don't think there has to be much more explanation. My turn, a question to you. Do you roleplay the characters based on what you feel they are like in their story and their personality? I try to, but, you know, sometimes I just go, and say, hey, this looks like it will give me some story. And I don't want to miss that, so I try to roleplay, but sometimes I grow weak and say, okay, and you know, but I try to justify my non-roleplay choices, usually with, well, if the character thinks like that, then it makes sense. In this scene, could I give you important advice to avoid a bug? I had to redo it 15 times. Oh god. Okay, but before you give the advice, try to give me only like the minimum bit that I need, the minimum information I need to recognize the spot where the bug is and not do it. You know, try to keep it free of any context that could be a story spoiler or anything like that. If you can do that, but yeah, avoiding bugs is always good. So I don't have a problem with that tip.
I came to get Richard. Do you know where I can find him?
Probably in the basement packing up, like everyone else. But I guess with your little memory issues, you wouldn't remember where it is.
Don't provoke me. Now's not the time. I suppose no one's volunteering to stick around here.
That's right, especially not me. If you see Wyatt, tell him to come downstairs to help me. It's an urgent request.
Wyatt?
Yes, a thin blood who works for me. He must be helping the staff. There's a lot of stuff here that could give the SI much more than just this bar. There'd be no point in running if they could track us down.
Yes, of course. And if you see Richard, could you...
I'll let him know you're looking for him, as usual.
When you see NPCs talking
Yes,
together,
it's done.
never interrupt their conversations.
Yeah, it's all taken care of. I've just got the suppliers and the VIP files left to do.
All right, I'm gonna need a badge for the basement too.
I don't have one, sorry.
Oh, we'll need a basement badge too, I guess. Let them finish, then talk to them if you want. Okay, yeah, that's perfectly fine. That's devoid of any story. Oh, we've seen you before. Weren't you like one of the guys we got blood from? Was his face... Was he one of the... No, the guards don't have faces. Oh, he was the... Was he Wyatt? Was he the guy from the parking garage? I think the ghoul from the parking garage. Okay, nothing else to interact with here?
Sorry, I've still got work to do.
It's also interesting that I know that the masks are probably just a way to justify that they don't make new character models for every scene and every room. You know, that you kind of know these are unimportant characters mostly. To ensure a pleasurable experience for yourself and others, please read our rules before entering the shared consumption area. Yeah. Guests are welcome subject to availability with or without a reservation. Please inquire about our specialties at the bar or ask our hostess. You may reserve them at the bar. Please consume in moderation. You will be held responsible for any damage to the vessels without any right to dispute the claim. Speaking is hard. Hi Lucius, how's it going? Please leave your personal belongings at the coat check. This place must remain available to all guests who are admitted. This space may be privatized with 2 weeks' notice. The staff at the Red Salon welcome you. Okay, we've read the rules and regulations. We can go in, right? So yeah, we're a vampire going into a vampire bar. Trying to find a friend here. To find out what the heck is wrong with our mind. Okay. And this weird thing at the edge of our vision. I'm not sure if that comes through on stream. Let me just see. Oh yeah, you can see it on stream. Okay, good. Is basically my special supervision. That, no, not super, like, you know, detective vision like on the Arkham games or something, where some things might stand out that I otherwise can't see. But it changes the colors a little, of course, so that's always a little weird. So I'm never quite sure. And these people look suspiciously like food.
Sorry, but the SI might show up at any second. I wouldn't hang around here if I were you.
Okay. Oh, and apparently... Oh, right. Since the other character... Like, you can play as 3 different characters. Like, you alternate between them. You can't choose. A Malkavian and adventurer walk into a bar. Sounds like the start of a joke. Yeah. Okay, he sounds...
What are they doing? I've got to move, and they're still not all here.
Oh, right. Yeah, he is. He is the guy from the garage, because the guy in the garage actually said that he occasionally works at the Red Salon. So we know it's the same guy. And apparently the same salon.
What are they doing? I've got to move, and they're still not all here.
Okay, that's cool. So, I hope everyone had a good weekend so far. And a good week before that. So this is a Vampire the Masquerade game, so based on the tabletop role-playing game, Pen and Paper.
Do you have a minute?
Just one.
I'm looking for Wyatt.
What has that degenerate weakling done now? He's gone and gotten us in trouble again, has he?
I don't know. Barrel's looking for him.
He was here 5 minutes ago. He's been running back and forth to get the kind to safety.
Do you know where I can find Richard?
Dr. Dunham? I've got no idea. He told us the SI was on its way, and gave us orders to clean up as much as we could. I was too shaken up to see where he went. Sorry.
Okay. What were you supposed to do?
Destroy everything that would give the SI information about us. That's all.
Of course.
But we don't even know where to start.
What are you working on now?
Vessels that were stimulated by Dr. Dunham. I'm holding on to them until we solve an issue with the kind.
Can we? No, we can't focus that. But it's 100% success, so who cares? You've been fighting through cold this weekend. Oh no. Well, better cold than something else, I guess. But yeah, it's never fun. I hope you've got a lot of tea at home and things like that. Which in German we have two completely distinct words for a kettle and an electric kettle. So a regular kettle is a word that roughly translates as, well, teapot, or as kind of like, yeah, cooking pot, teapot, kind of like that. Whereas the electric kettle we call tea cooker. So it's not actually considered a pot, and is like more, the word sounds more like a stove. And so whenever I hear British people talk about, oh, I'm gonna get the kettle and make tea, I always think, oh, they're making all the effort of putting a pot on the stove, putting water in it, waiting for it to whistle, and then pour it out or whatever. And then I have to remind myself, oh wait, they're probably just talking about an electric kettle. And they just turn it on, wait for it to stop, and then you have your tea. So that just reminded me of that I recently thought about that and went like, oh, wait, yeah, that's, it makes... So sometimes the way similar words in different languages, if you translate them one-to-one, completely change their meaning compared to the actual translation. It gives you a wrong, just, like, casually wrong impression of a different country. Like, by British people saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna put the kettle on, or something like that. Britain sounds much more low-tech to me than it actually is. And that's like one of the tricky things about translation, that there's all these little details. That's why computers are so bad about translating. They would translate, I'll put the kettle on, as, I'm putting the teapot on the stove, or something like that. Whereas in actuality, it's, I'm turning on the tea cooker. Okay, let's use our knowledge. It always feels so cool when you have like, oh, I can use my skill points.
You change their emotional state?
We give them Trajax injections to trigger emotions that make them taste better.
Now I remember. That's thanks to Richard's work.
Yeah, our specialty vintages have become quite popular, so we can't up and lose them.
I believe you.
Actually, since we don't have a lot of time left, you should go see our manager at the back. She must need help.
Okay. I'll go see.
Yeah, a teapot is the thing you put the hot water in to brew the tea. But you need to boil it in a kettle first. Yeah, it's kind of like in like at least, I don't know, maybe that's just, certain people doing it differently. But like Germans would probably take the manual kettle, boil the water in that, and then put the tea in that and pour from that, Unless you're having guests or something, you wouldn't bother actually changing it over into a teapot. So that slight distinction is not something I do every day, It's just they're both teapots for me, kind of. I'm a little teapot, short and stout, and I don't know the melody. So we know that he's Wyatt, so why can't we talk to him?
What are they doing? I've got to move, and they're still not all here.
Well, we know that this is Wyatt. But I guess we don't know where Beryl is. I mean, most people throw a tea bag in a mug and pour the boiling water into there, so it's rare to use an actual teapot. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I guess there is the thé service, so like almost the French word, Germanified a little bit, is what you would probably say if you wanted to say in German teapot. You know, that implies like fancy china or something.
They could get here at any time.
So, what do we do now?
How the hell should I know?
We could break down the door to get her out.
We don't have the equipment for that.
I could ask Dr. Dunham if...
No way. We'll figure something out. When is Wyatt supposed to be back?
He shouldn't be long now.
If what Mr. Dunham says is true, we've got to get out of here fast. But we can't let them get their hands on such a priceless vessel.
Do you think this business about the SI is true? Are they really coming here?
All right. Go to the front. When Wyatt gets here, tell him to be ready. I'll see what I can do.
Roger that.
These are interesting little rooms.
I hope they don't show up now.
Is this like... I think it's a window, right? Not like bars. Although, I don't know. It's hard to tell if there's a glass pane. I think there might be some reflections there at the top, so I guess it's a window. Even though, you know, the bars on a window, there wouldn't be bars in front and bars on the back, so it's kind of weird. But it kind of looks like, you know, they sit the vessels down there, like you know, in the red light district. Was it this conversation where if you interrupt them, you actually kill the game? Okay, thanks for the tip then. But this feels like, you know, there's in, I think in Amsterdam, in the red light district, supposedly there are basically like big shop windows where prostitutes sit. And this looks kind of like it's inspired by that. That there's a nice still life of a room where a vessel can sit and then you can come in and bite them or something. But I guess someone's locked in there.
The door seems to be blocked from inside.
Oh, and here is a damaged access card thing.
The door's stuck.
Ah, and here's a clear window.
Huh. Music. To relax the vessels.
Yeah, okay, it's really like they sit in there and they go like, here, pet, here, doggo, have your calming song.
Huh. Music. To relax the vessels.
And they get some reading and things. And Maximus, thank you for the follow. Okay, I guess we look around here. Oh, that's a pipe. What's it called? Pipe mail? Pneumatic tube. So you can put a letter. Tray jugs. Uh-huh. So that's how they send the medication.
That must be how they supply the Trajax into the injection room.
Trajax. Emergency Treatment Handbook. This handbook is designed to help you in the event that a donor presents symptoms of severe Trajax withdrawal. Please use the following procedure in case of emergency. Analyze the subject's behavior. Refer to their resonance. Calculate the number of doses needed to return them to their standard docile behavior. 1 dose of Trajax that is suited to the subject's resonance allows them to move up 1 level. Warning, an overdose may cause the donor to lose consciousness or have a heart attack. Oh my god, this is looking like a difficult puzzle. Melancholic resonance donor. The subject is depressed, apathetic, and submissive. -1, the subject presents a state of clear emotional indifference. Their statements are detached. The subject demonstrates signs of manic excitement. Their ideas are disorganized. Subject is experiencing major depressive episodes. Okay, so that's probably the woman in that room. Or person, I don't even know if it's a woman. I think they said she, right? Let's make it official that I like this stream and the streamer's taste in games. Okay, thank you. Alright, let's see.
This vessel behind us.
Ah. Okay, that's the entrance. That's the room we passed through after the entrance. Is that where Richard or Burrell hang out?
What could she be doing there?
And I guess we can speak with her.
Come on. Come out of there now.
No, you're going to hurt me.
Come on. Come out of there now.
No, you're going to hurt me.
Okay. So she thinks we're going to hurt her. That sounds paranoid or something. Did we have that anywhere? Manic excitement, no. Suicide, no. Negative and morbid, Paranoid episode. So that sounds like a -2 phlegmatic. Okay. Calculate the number of doses needed to return them to their standard docile behavior. So if it's -2... So phlegmatic... 1... Yeah, and I guess it takes 2 doses? So now, where else do we find out
Richard's
what to do?
grand idea. Injecting substances to stimulate the vessel's humors.
Phlegmatic. So we need MG for phlegmatic. DA for choleric, R7 for melancholic, and 5HT for sanguine. So we need MG. Trajax MG for phlegmatic resonance is compound made of blah blah blah. Keep subject in calm and meditative state. Do not give Trajax MG to a sanguine because the effects are permanent. Vessel profiles. Okay, who who is the one in there? I don't think we had a picture, right? Contagious pessimism. Okay, not sure who she is.
Better not leave this vessel behind us.
Did they say? The desktop background is a cassette tape. Okay. Or whatever. Okay. So the question is, like, just going by, she said, "You're going to hurt me." Oh, what's this?
A pneumatic tube system that connects with the basement, it looks like.
Okay.
That must be how they supply the Trajax into the injection room.
I think that's the injection room. Yeah, it looks like there's at least like a medical bed or something. But how do we find out who that is? And where did the other person go? Okay, we can't go there. Oh, wow.
Something to keep the donors in an aggressive mood.
Choleric room. Ah, okay. Sanguine room was the first one we saw.
Oh, Leysha. I didn't expect to see you here.
She knows who I am. Level 4 knowledge deduction.
It seems like you know who I am, but I don't remember meeting you.
Yeah, it's not the first time that that's happened to you.
So I came here often?
Oh yeah, but it's been going on 3 years since I saw you last. My name's Betty. I manage the salon for Dr. Dunham, sort of.
Is there a problem? Why aren't you leaving?
It's just that Dr. Dunham asked me to evacuate the kind, but I'm never gonna be able to do it. A highly valuable donor has holed herself up in there, but Wyatt's supposed to take her and the others.
Do you know where Dr. Dunham went?
He must be doing the same thing we're doing. Getting rid of anything we don't want the SI to get their hands on.
Like what, exactly?
He told us to destroy the Trajax compounds, so he must be getting rid of his stuff.
What are those compounds you mentioned?
It's one of the doctor's inventions, a stimulant for the donors. The blood is way better with it. Everybody loves it.
Do you have any idea where the doctor might have started?
Oh, he leaves his stuff laying around everywhere, you know. But most of it must be in his office. It's on this floor, in the rotunda, or in his examining room in the basement.
You said that Wyatt was dealing with the vessels? I need to talk to him. Do you know where he is?
He's been running back and forth to get the kind to safety. I've got to get this damn vessel out before he's done.
Why can't you make the vessel come out?
All the commotion has pushed her over the brink. Or maybe she thinks she's being taken to the slaughterhouse? There's no way of knowing. She won't talk to us.
What's the slaughterhouse?
Oh, that's what the kind call the basement. That's where we take donors that have been drained by clients. or donors that have been overused. Mr. Underwood is in charge of that.
Oh, he works here now?
Yes, he's in charge of the accounting, recycling the vessels. Really anything the doctor isn't interested in doing.
And he's very talented, I imagine.
Let's say there are a lot of deliveries, but not a lot of money coming in. If you see what I mean.
I do. A blue blood. Why don't you force her to come out?
I can't. She's locked in the injection room, and there's no way to open the door. And I'm not allowed to damage her. She's a vintage.
I can sense that you disagree.
Well, I'm supposed to deal with her, but I can't even touch her. Because she's worth too much?
What does it mean when you say she's a vintage?
They're the donors that have the strongest reaction to the Trajax injections. It gives their blood incredible character, a vintage. But when they don't get their dose, they can get out of control. This vessel flipped out and went totally paranoid.
I see.
But the SI had better not get their hands on her. Can you help me? She might listen to you.
I'd heard there was a lot of compromising stuff on us here. So I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, go ahead. And clean up anything we forgot and...
Yeah, I get it, Betty. I'll do it if I can, okay?
Fine. All right. There's a pass on the bar that'll give you staff clearance. You're gonna need it.
Thanks.
Sorry, but I don't have the time. If the SI get here, we're screwed.
Is that the bar? Where is the bar? No, that's just a fountain. Where is the bar? Ouch, I ran my nose into a curtain. Apparently a very solid curtain.
I have to cover our tracks as much as possible. Understand?
Okay, that looks like it could be the bar. Menu. Our fire vessels. They're justice seekers, fighters, or fans of gore cinema, and they all have one thing in common: violence and aggressivity. If you want to see red, ask for one of our fire vessels. For an even more intense experience, ask for one of our vintages: Glen, Vincent, or Rosemary. Our festive vessels. They're clubbers, sex addicts, or Wall Street traders, and they all have one thing in common: the sky's the limit. If you're looking for perpetual motion, ask for one of our festive vessels. For an experience that lasts, ask for one of our vintages: Abby, James, or Elliot. Our Zen vessels. They're yoga teachers, poets, or researchers, and they all have one thing in common: calm and relaxation. If it's deep relaxation you're after, ask for one of our Zen vessels. For an even more transcendental experience, ask for one of our vintages: Maritza, Clarice, or Tommaso. Our melancholic vessels. They're undertakers, customer service reps, or volunteers who work with victims, and they all have one thing in common: they understand the darkness of the soul. If you want to descend into the darkest depths of their blood, ask for one of our melancholic vessels. For an even more profound experience, ask for one of our vintages: Henry, Ozzy, or Paul. Okay, so I guess this could help us, because we know she's a vintage, so she has to be one of these names. We can eliminate the guys already.
There's no reason to panic.
So it's Rosemary, Abby, Maritza, Clarice. I don't know, Ozzy could be a woman.
I hope the boss is wrong.
Me too.
I heard they're not destroying everyone they find.
They keep them for their research.
Ah, shit.
Sometimes the controls just seem to stop. Which is a bit weird. We're getting so much collectibles. Ah, there's the card. We're getting so many collectibles, consumables, I mean, that we're probably never going to use. Come on. Staff access card, okay. That should be helpful. Are you playing on PC? Yes, this is on PC. I'm actually playing on a 4K display as well, so it's scaled down a little. So hopefully, even though, you know, the bitrate makes it a little fuzzy, it should have a little more detail. You struggled with a bug of camera on PS4 once or twice. Yeah. Is there anything?
Betty was right. The vessel locked herself in.
Oh, and now we can talk to her. Maybe we can find out her name.
Come on, you've got to get out of there. We've wasted enough time already.
Is that you, Betty?
No, it's Leysha.
Get out of here!
Look, I can tell you're scared, but I can help.
I don't know who to believe anymore. They're all out to get me. I know they want to kill me.
Who are you talking about?
Them. The Masters. And even those locked up in here with me. They all want me dead.
No, quite the contrary. They want to keep you safe. If you stay here, you could die.
I don't believe them anymore. They're gonna promise me Trajax to get me to leave, but they'll give me poison instead.
That's not true.
I won't open the door. Leave me alone.
Okay. Still don't know her name. But we know that she has... she's seeing people as well. So let's find Richard's... Is that Richard's office? Yeah. She said it was on the rotunda, so I guess that's his office. So let's look at that again. So, suicidal thoughts, not really. Seems still to be paranoid. Massive persecution are observed. I mean, that's really the only thing. So, phlegmatic. And phlegmatic was MG, right? Phlegmatic, yeah. And so I guess we would need to put 2 doses of MG, but we don't have them, I guess. So I guess we need to get 2 from Richard. Is there anything here that we need to pick up and destroy? Doesn't look like it. And all the power outlets are mounted upside down. Because if it looks like there are two eyes and a shocked mouth, apparently that's the wrong way around. You're not gaming on your Mac? That was a good one, Pilkey. Thank you. I miss the days when I could actually... Well, there are some games you can get on Mac, but still... Okay, so that's not good. There's a bunch of slightly dead people. Oh, there are rats, should I need it? Go down. Woo! Oh, that's cool. You can even see the wall move. You have Civ 6 on Mac. That's... Wait, is that the new one or is that the old one? I'm trying to remember. I think Civ 6 might be the one that recently released, right? Or did I just see a retro streamer see it recently, play it recently?
Oh, the ink blot test. This one's a butterfly. I've been here before. I'm sure of it.
Ooh, a premonition. Okay, let's do it. We've not done any premonitions before, so I kind of want to see how that works for now. Which, you know, is stupid because we've been playing her as Civ 6. You got it five years ago. Okay, yeah, that. So I don't know what she saw there. Can I see that again? No. She was just standing at a door staring, wasn't she?
That reminds me of clouds.
What? Don't you see the monster with the hands on the head? Oh. Patient 3, nature, human, location, embrace in Dorchester, November 21st, 43, Audrey. Sedation following capture near Mather School, has come to terms with her condition. Our sessions are starting to be calmer. Subject is having a hard time adjusting to captivity. The time has come. Her nostalgia for a human condition stimulates her need for imitation. I mentioned her former occupation. Now we must wait. The patient's mind is adhesive. She now only talks about missing her work. In the last 2 sessions, I mentioned the possibility of caring for a child. Now it's all she'll talk about. She says she's ready to try. I introduced her to patient 0. I left them together for 1 hour under discreet surveillance. Nothing to report. I have repeated their visits, less than 1 hour each time for the past 5 days. However, I have a sense of foreboding. Patient 0 was upset about patient 1's departure for an assignment. I will continue to seek a caretaker for her. Final death at 2:29. At 2:24. What? That sounds a bit as if that was Halsey's... Like someone taking care of Halsey or something? Okay, it's a suspicious item. Chance encounter, amateur poetry cycle in Boston. Have managed to strike up a friendship. Subject is calm and at peace. Even an offer to publish his poetry didn't change his mood. He will make an exceptional test subject. James is having a hard time adjusting to captivity. I must sedate him while I search for some sort of compensation. However, his mood still remains strong. I have discovered a way to give him relative freedom through hypnosis. This method is highly successful on mortals. He willingly agrees to the injections. I nearly lost him while testing the Trajax PV11, but I did have a hint of a result. Patient is the same as always. Trajax PV62 tested today. No results. I refuse to give up. 3 years and 35 days. Oh, wow. This time I'm on the right track. It's certain. The effect only lasts a few seconds, but the results are encouraging. Trajax PV131. Okay. Neonate. Irreversible invasive psychosis. Boston. Chance meeting at QK's. Quentin King's, I guess. His sire regrets last week's embrace. The child presents a disorder that is incompatible with his family. I'm still hesitant about his diagnosis, but it is either psychosis or a borderline personality disorder. I accepted a partial treatment without promising any results. Mike's behavioral issues seem to stem from psychopathy rather than the unlife. From a clinical perspective, in the past 2 weeks, Mike has demonstrated self-mutilation, multiple physical aggressions, paranoia, gratuitous violence, magical thinking. Conclusion: no therapeutic solution is possible at this stage. The sire agrees to hand Mike over to me as a test subject. Mike had a bad reaction to the Trajax PV63. He suffered a fit of insanity and had to be restrained by the staff. I'm afraid of losing him because his test results are so reliable. And he is resilient as well. Mike has become lethargic following consumption of Trajax V727 phlegm. I must calculate the impact of the main ingredient. Okay. Okay, we can't get that open. Another photo. And batteries. Okay. Titans. Observation on the interpretation of dreams. During test 47 of Trajax MG, I observed dreamlike activity in a kindred. The formula isn't perfect, but this experimental accident allowed me to work on interpreting the event with the subject. To better understand this phenomenon, a former European colleague once advised me to read Freud's work. Specifically the volumes on this subject in the following order: Volume 3, 5, 4. However, my recent observations lead me to question this recommendation. It seems obvious to me that for psychoanalysis to contribute anything to the understanding of this phenomenon in kindred, Volume 5 should be read first. So 354 or 534. Personal notes. A careful reading of the aforementioned publications led me to reconsider my psychoanalytical understanding of the unlife of kindred. Thus, the origin myth of Oedipus will show the way to a solution to the one who can interpret it. Always. It will reveal the tormented secrets of the blood in all its darkness. Okay, do we have a safe somewhere? Hello? Oh, there's a key. And that's his certificates. Oh. Patient 27 case file. Nature, thin blood, Boston, most likely. Date, sire's identity, undetermined. February 16th, 1997, named Davis. Provided by Quentin King for testing. Was extremely interested in my research. I can tell that I'll be able to reach new heights with his support. Davis is extremely picky in his choice of vessels. He may be young, but I'm quite curious as to his selectivity. I would have liked to keep him as control for the Trajax 5HT tests, but he will be far too costly to maintain. This brute completely drained my most promising test vessel. In 15 years I had never seen such potential. I cannot keep Davis. I encouraged Patient Zero to practice with him, and he is no longer an issue. I erased everything, of course. Okay.
But Richard says that madness isn't an illness.
Madness, eccentricity or pathology. Behaviors and words are sometimes chalked up to eccentricity or quirkiness, but when this deviation from the norm becomes persistent, particularly when accompanied by delusional thinking, it is generally considered to be madness. However, norms vary from one culture to another, and from one era to another, and what we consider to be normal for standards and societies is different from one culture to another, depending on the frame of reference chosen. Since the 19th century, madness has been considered an illness. The term mental pathology is used, and the matter is studied from a medical perspective. Madness is thus something to be healed, to treat. To be healed, to treat? Did I say that right? I hear myself in my headphones, and the longer the stream goes on, I get a slight delay on hearing myself. That's why I took one earbud out so I can hear myself better. But it's a bit confusing, you know, hearing someone speak while you're speaking, even if it's yourself. Okay, I think it was this. Use key. Yay. Patient Zero. Nature. Suffering from typhoid. Treatment. Embrace. Between Brest and New York. Named Juliet. Is that Typhoid Mary? Stricken with typhoid during the passage to Boston. I was forced to embrace her to save her. I'm having trouble hiding her. Basic sustenance operations are functional but limited. Subject can only feed in frenzied state. Refuses any derived source of sustenance, rats, dominated kine, etc. An accident occurred this evening. I was unable to prevent it. I do not know what consequences will ensue, as this embrace is so far outside of standard procedure. However, this will also simplify things, I must admit. At least they will be together. I created a file for Patient 1. Okay, so Patient 0 somehow embraced patient 1 or what? This is why I don't monitor myself. It's also why I end up forgetting I'm muted while streaming. Yeah. That's basically why I did it. Most of the time it works, but I mean, what I could do, but I forget it, is I could unplug and replug my microphone during the break, and then it would be fine. Then the delay wouldn't happen. But, you know, we're getting to the end of the stream. We've already basically run over an hour, so that's it. At least they will be together. Created a file for Patient 1. Is this Leysha? But it says Juliet. So the question is, are Leysha and Halsey real names? You know, is there maybe more story to this? The subject has developed extraordinary psychological defenses and continues to act as if nothing has changed. It seems that feeding sessions are followed by massive anterograde amnesia. I'm both perplexed and fascinated. I'm sure to find an explanation for Quentin once we get to Boston. I haven't time to make note of the therapy that I have implemented. I'm surprised by the subject's skill, but it is not completely mastered yet. Presentation to Quentin King went well. I was on my guard. I must unfortunately make the subject forget her abilities or the consequences of her acts.
Alright, it's a total mess. Juliet. That name. Why does that remind me of something?
Yeah. I think we're onto something here. So I think he turned Leysha, who was named Juliet originally. She, in her frenzied state, accidentally turned Halsey. Then they had to kill Halsey. And now Halsey is hallucinating. Leysha is hallucinating Halsey. Seems kind of like that. Thank you. I know it must be interesting to hear like my speculations, and I'm thankful that you're not, giving anything away. Oh, that was that one.
Richard says that madness isn't an illness.
Okay, I guess that's all we can do here.
Richard must not be far.
And that, if Richard turned Leysha, that would explain why she can feel his presence, Because she always said, I can feel Richard nearby, or Richard must not be far. She did the same at the party as well. Whereas it's fun that you share your train of thought.
The kibble!
Whoops. Robsteady, hi, thank you for the raid. I'm just wildly speculating about the story, where it goes in this game. Hi, first, let's give Robsteady a proper shout out. Okay, and you were playing Sniper Elite. I've seen some people recently stream it. I think that's a new game. I don't know what it's about. Is it good? Is it fun? It just, I don't know, sniping doesn't sound that interesting to me, but then I'm more into stuff like this where you kind of like get puzzles and lots of story. It is maybe 3 weeks old. Yeah, I thought so. It felt like it recently popped up. Enjoyed. It's a slow tactical game. Oh, that's actually promising. Okay. Is it Sniper Elite sounds like a shooter? Is it more... but you say it's slow, so that sounds promising. That might actually be interesting. I guess I'll have to check it out at some point. Oh, and here, 4, 3, 1, 2. That's probably related to the numbers we found earlier. It's a shooter, but you have to plan out how you approach the map rather than just going in guns blazing. Okay, that sounds good. That's the reason I like stealth games. because you can kind of slowly approach it, look around, take in the scenery, sneakily take out a few people, and I guess that's... I mean, it's a sniper game, so it's also kind of sneaky. So, that actually feels pretty good. As long as it's not too graphic. Like, I wanted to get into playing CSGO, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, with a friend, and I had to stop eventually because I was looking at... like, whenever you shot someone, you know, it was just so graphic when you headshot someone that I went like, I don't want that image in my head anymore. Oh, one of the selling points is that the game is very graphic. Okay, then I guess I'll probably not enjoy it. But it functions like that, gotta stick to the shadows. Okay, that's cool, yeah. I wonder, I mean, some of the games have, you know, like a switch to turn the graphic violence off, so if I'm lucky, that can work. You wouldn't want to check out Sniper Elite, then they have what's called X-Ray. Wah, yeah. I didn't like that in CSI Las Vegas already, when they did the X-Ray, like, here is how we're taking apart the chest cavity, or this is how the bullet went in. It wasn't fun. Yeah. Okay, we're playing Vampire the Masquerade Swansong here. For those of you who are not quite sure, Vampire the Masquerade, you might have heard it. It's an old tabletop role-playing game. Pen and paper, that sort of thing. But they've made a couple of games from it, some good, some not so good. The most famous one is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, which is quite old, but was really good at its time, and, you know, it really does a lot of great role-playing stuff. And there was a sequel planned to that, that was supposed to come out, I think, end of last year, and they basically cancelled their contract with the company who was making it, and haven't yet announced who will continue making it now. So it seems it's pretty much dead. Swansong is not really related to Bloodlines. Swansong is a completely different game, also based on the tabletop games. And it's done by the people who did the game The Council. So it feels like Bloodlines is more a shooter stealth game with a lot of RPG. And this one is more an RPG game. We haven't had any shooting so far. We've had a couple... they're not even QuickTime events because there's no timer on it, I think. Where you had like 2 decisions on screen and go like, do this or do that now. And depending on your skills, you even only had 1. But it's basically, it's a role-playing game that you can walk around in first person. And I'm enjoying it really. It has a really cool story. We've just been speculating about something in the story here, about this character. So if there's anyone here in chat who still wants to play this game, maybe let me know. I think we've covered most of the things, but I will probably continue speculating, and I don't know which papers I will find here that will give me more information. But so you might get a little spoiler, and I think this is actually like a thread that I've seen going through this story that I would have hated having been spoilered on. Have you played the Quantic Dream games, Heavy Rain, Detroit? I've not played them myself yet, but I've seen some people play some of them. So I've seen a lot of Detroit being played. I've seen what was the time travel one with the Iceman actor? And Anyway, that one I've seen played. And I think Quantum Break. Yeah, that was it. Thank you. So I've seen that played. And this one is, like, as you can see, like, graphically it's more stylized. They don't have that fancy an engine. Quantum Break looked very realistic. I actually bought Beyond Two Souls, haven't played it yet, but plan to play it yet. But yeah, I'm aware of Beyond Two Souls, yeah. But yeah, Quantum Break was the one I was thinking of. And I think... I don't remember which one... which other one there would be that I seen played. But anyway, so this game is... This game is also... There is a predefined story that they expect you to go through. But there's also this role-playing game skill system that means that a lot of the things that you find and interact with here, you can't actually do anything with if you don't have the skills. So it invites replayability just by virtue of you go through it and you always miss something. Just because your character doesn't have the skills. You like narrative RPG personally? You wish they made more of them. Yeah. But I have to say I'm happy with the compromise they found. Like, if you look at many modern games like, you know, Assassin's Creed or what others have I played? Even Horizon Zero Dawn to a degree. But like the modern Assassin's Creed is probably the best example. You know, it's a combination. If you're a shooter fan, you can go in guns blazing. You can, or, you know, like, you can melee battle or anything. So there's a combat aspect. Then there's the story that goes through, and you can even make decisions in the modern Assassin's Creed games that change the story a little bit. It's not as intricate as here, but you know, it's a good combination because it means they can spend a lot more money on a game, and you get a high quality, expensively produced game that has role-playing game elements, that has for example, stealth play elements that you can play as. And you can sort of ignore some of the other gameplay elements, or in some cases you can turn down the difficulty. For example, in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, they actually had a separate setting for stealth difficulty and regular combat. And so what I basically did was, you know, pump up stealth and turn down regular combat. So that means if they're forcing me in some mission to go non-stealth, then I can just go, okay, boom, 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 it's done, because it doesn't interest me. I can play it as a pure stealth game. And, you know, I kind of like that if they don't have the budget to make, you know, if it just doesn't make sense budget-wise to create more role-playing games, that we at least get role-playing adjacent games where we can mostly ignore the other aspects. And that's what a lot of the big games and the RPGs do. You know, it's in an MMORPG, you have crafting, you have an economy, you have group content, you have quest lines that are basically a single-player game. And so you can just focus in most modern MMORPGs on what you like to play, And at worst, you have to go and, for example, if you're mainly into the story content, but you need certain items that you only get from multiplayer missions, then either you go, I don't hate multiplayer, I'll just do enough multiplayer to get these items to be able to continue in the story missions. And that way, that means that the people who play this game for the multiplayer content have another player to play with for like 4 missions or something. But you only have to do 4 missions and then you can go back. And so, everyone kind of helps the other one out. And those people who like to, deal with the economy and do trading games or something, they can do things like do the multiplayer quests, grind those a little bit, and then take the items they get from there and trade them for something else that they want more. And so people who don't want to do the multiplayer missions may go through their single-player missions, looting all sorts of stuff, and just trading that in for multiplayer items. And so people who are bored by the single-player content, because, NPCs aren't really that much of a challenge as an actual person to fight against. It's a completely different strategy. So that I like that they found this balance. That way you can make one huge expensive games because almost everyone plays it. Just almost everyone plays a different part of it. But since, you look at the same graphical assets, they can still spend so much more money on this, and these games can look so much more pretty. And, they can get so much better actors for the cutscenes and things like that. Because they get the money from, like, people that, that money would have split up into 4 games. I like that, kind of. You like narrative RPG personally, you wish they would make more of them. Assassin's Creed is trying to please everyone, but it doesn't get the full satisfaction of any. That's my feeling. Yes, I played all the Assassin's Creed games. I get where you're coming from. I definitely admit that most of the Assassin's Creed games, it feels a little not like it doesn't quite feel satisfying. But compare it to this game. This is a lovely game. Everything is pretty, but like, for example, the entire place looks too clean, too, like, it's all stylized because they can't really make it look realistic. And it's also, if you remember earlier, we had a few streams ago, we had a spot where basically there was a waist-high wall. And if you wanted to go down there, you could only walk to the edge of the wall, and then you had to do a regular interact prompt, which kind of started a mini cutscene of your character onerously climbing down that one step. And it wasn't like it wasn't onerously, it was just casually, your character just climbed down there. And the same way you could go up again. And that was, like engine limitations, kind of, that you didn't have the whole, you can just mantle up and down something like in other games. And so, you pay in this game for not having that budget. Because some things feel awkward, some things are too slow, sometimes you're forced to walk, like here. So it's always a bit of a way, of a trade-off. And so I like having more games to play when these games that aren't available, and to show me how smoothly some games can play, and then, I can enjoy that part of a game. You also appreciate the ability to adjust the difficulty of the playstyles. Yeah, it's really great. I wish they did that with more games, particularly with things like stealth. Like, like, I want to stealth through the entire game, basically. I want to be undetected. And so, I know many people don't like that, but I would actually, in many, especially in Assassin's Creed games, prefer if being detected was just an immediate game over. Just restart me at the last save or whatever. So that if I decide to, sneakily do that base, I don't have to, then go, okay, they're attacking me, and now I have to fight through, and I don't like that fighting. And now what do? I can go and become, what is it called? Undetected? No, inconspicuous, something like that. They have a term. Again, by running away, waiting for them to forget me, and then sneaking in again. That sort of works as well. But, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's just like, if you want to play a stealth game, then it's annoying to suddenly switch it into a combat game. You keep on playing Assassin's Creed hoping for the story and the writing to get better, but since Desmond Miles, it feels that ship has sailed. Okay. Yeah, I never really got into the early Assassin's Creed games. So I tried numerous ones. I don't think I tried the first ones because at the time they weren't readily available on PC and were quite old. But I did play a little bit of Black Flag, a little bit of Unity, a little bit of Liberation. What were the other ones? Well, the one that I really liked of the old games was actually Syndicate. I played that a little bit. But then Origins came out and I tried that and I went like, oh, finally, that's a game in my style. And Origins, of course, is famously the first Assassin's Creed game that went into a role-playing game direction from just more like pure combat stealth story. And then as I started playing Origins, Odyssey came out and they went, hey, now we have decisions. And then I went, you know what? I'll do Odyssey first. And so I actually haven't finished Origins yet. But I've played Odyssey and Valhalla. But MMORPGs are like a mall, trying to sell something to everyone. I still prefer games that give a clear single promise. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, it's definitely more satisfying if they sell you that single clear promise that you want. But most of them go like, hey, I'm selling you melee combat, or hey, I'm selling you a trade simulation. And that's basically not the kinds of games that I'm looking for. Hi, Dr. Hazard. I have no idea what you're trying to say, but hello, welcome here. Come in. Grab a blood bag, and let's see. Yes, you are right, this game is clearly budget limited. Face animations are from the previous era, clearly, for instance. Yeah, previous, but like the end of the previous generation, it feels like to me. Like I think like Horizon, for example, actually had worse face animations than this one. I think, like, I haven't done a direct comparison, but just like in my gut feeling, like seeing, maybe they just fit better into the style of this game, I don't know. But there's something about these face animations don't really take me out of the game. We are serving vessels with a resonance tonight. Yeah. Oh, what was this here? Most famous one is Bloodlines 2. I forgot to answer that one. Everyone is waiting for it. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm enjoying this game greatly so far. It's just like you come in with different expectations, of course. And I mean, that's my style. Like if you stay here for a while, I'll talk a lot about, not just the game and what I think will happen, but also about like the game design. And I'm not complaining in general, but I'll point out like, I wish they'd done it this way, that would be so much better, and things like that. And sometimes I'll fight the controls and cuss and swear about it, Alright. Read. Okay, that's another suspicious item. Patient 16, Eddie Brighton. Subject came to the Red Salon of his own volition. He appeared gaunt and bewildered by his embrace. Was told by his sire to come here before disappearing. Reported my issue to Quentin King. If all the kindred who break the rules send me their unwanted progeny, what will become of us? Quentin King has agreed to allow me to keep Eddie to assist with my research. It's nice to be understood by the prince. I spoke with Eddie by the prince. But these are all old records if it's all Quentin King. I spoke with Eddie at length to set him at ease. He is adapting relatively well to his new condition. I'm keeping Eddie apart from the others. I don't want him stimulating Subject Zero's attachment. Even if that would be interesting, but will not help me advance science. The Trajax PV-23 experiment did not lead to any conclusive results. Eddie did not notice any difference. The test vessel died, however. I have been increasing the concentration of topiramate each day. This is the first time that the test vessel has survived the night, and Eddie has reported sensing a difference. Eddie no longer senses anything, despite the changes in the tramadol and benzodiazepine. Okay, those are regularly psychopharmaca percentages. On the other hand, I'm beginning to notice changes in his behavior. Eddie is becoming increasingly incomprehensible. He can no longer match his words to his thoughts. Eddie refuses to participate in the experiment. He was so aggressive that we had to lock him in my laboratory. His condition has deteriorated too far to be of any use to me, but I will keep him for further study as the side effects have had a remarkable impact on him. Okay, so these are all records that we're supposed to take away so that if someone, because we're expecting this location to be attacked. Yeah. And the doctor is the guy we're looking for. He's, well, basically our friend. Possibly more? Ooh. There's a tape deck. This is not... Oh. Maybe here. Okay, I guess we're just not supposed to open it, but at least they thought of putting an eject marker somewhere. So I guess this is one of the ones where you have to just manually pull it out. It's kind of nice that they... Oh, and they don't let you record over it either. It has auto-reverse. Oh, wow. If you're a kid of the 80s, you wanted a tape deck with auto-reverse. You know that... I don't know how old all you people are, but if you never really used tapes... Actually realized I have one on that shelf back there, but that would be a little bit of climbing to get at that. So tapes, there is a tape inside them, and the thing is, it only records on like the top half, the front half of the tape. And you can actually turn it around, and then you have a second stretch of tape that you can record on. So that means because, you know, it had to be wound up, the tape, and so you had a certain size that fit into a cassette. And that was, I think, at the start, about half an hour. And so by making the tape twice as thick, they were able to put 60 minutes on one cassette. And auto reverse, what it did was basically you didn't have to take out the tape, turn it around, and put it back in to play the second side, but rather if it hit the end, it would just shift the pickup so it got the back half of the tape, and then roll the tape backwards again in the reverse direction, and that way play the backside. Yeah, that's kind of cool. That they put that logo on there, because that was, the advancement. Tapes wouldn't just stop. They would play and then flip the side on their own and continue playing. And so if you had a 1-hour concert or a 1-hour album, you could play it that way. Okay, I guess there's really no tape in there yet. It did look kind of empty and black. But so that means we might have to find a tape somewhere. Which, I'm all up for. I mean, there was this painting that looked like a tape. But it looked a bit too big. Ooh, what's this? Ah, that's Freud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the numbers. And then it said Oedipus, and that was a different order. Okay, so I guess we'll have to go back and find out the numbers. I'm intentionally not, speculating more about what we talked about since we came in, so in case someone doesn't want to get spoiled, they don't get spoiled too much. Like, you'll basically lose one puzzle, but all the story, you're safe for now. Your PC's loudspeakers are a tape deck. What, are they that noisy? Okay, here. So, to better understand, let me get a pencil to note that down. Bit of paper. Low tech. Since we're talking about a tape deck earlier, I guess this works. Okay, so Freud is 354. And Oedipus is 534, I guess. The origin myth of Oedipus will show the way to a solution to the one who can interpret it. Always. Okay. So let's see. Forced walking. I hate it. Ah, finally running again. And forced walking. Okay, let's look at Oedipus. 2. Oedipus pointing to the object of shame. Oedipus showing the way. Three, Oedipus indicating suffering and showing his fear. Wait, the text... I should have read it some more. I think it said something about showing the way, right? The origin myth of Oedipus will show the way to a solution to the one who can interpret it. Okay. So... I mean, here is showing the way. Is there anything we can see here? Doesn't really look like it. Oh, maybe we can see something. But he also points to the object of shame. But there's nothing we can do here. But maybe that unlocks later. So I guess let's do this first. Let's see, it says changed to... Let's try 534 first. I'm not 100% sure, but I kind of have the... You know, earlier I had the suspicion that if I had tried the other combination on that box first, that maybe I would have got a different result. I'm not sure, but like... Okay, 5, 3, 4.
Where could Richard be hiding?
Oh, okay.
A second
Ooh.
layer of security.
Okay. Okay, we can turn these. And this is how I select a different one. But that's 4 numbers. Okay. Huh. Okay, there's really nothing on this thing that we can see. Huh. So the question is it the same code with a 5 in front? And what the heck did he mean about Oedipus? So the thing is, this looks like it's basically clock faces. No, it's actually fewer steps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8. 9 is 1 again. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 4. Nope. That didn't work. You're applauding. Well, you're testing the commands. Okay, so that had nothing to do with my solution. Could be that you went, oh, he's on the right track. Let's just schedule an applause. Okay, but glad you're liking the commands. That's what they're for. Okay, let's read this one again. Test 47. I observed a dreamlike activity. The formula isn't perfect. Blah blah. To better understand this phenomenon, a former European colleague 354. However, my recent observations lead me to question this recommendation. Seems obvious to me that for psychoanalysis to contribute anything to the understanding of this phenomenon in Kindred, Volume 5 should be read first. A careful reading of the aforementioned publications has led me to reconsider my psychoanalytical understanding of the unlife of the Kindred. Thus, the origin myth of Oedipus will show the way to a solution to the one who can interpret it, always. It will reveal the tormented secrets of the blood in all its darkness. It's good that he left his computer on. Okay. So the thing is, it only has 8, not 12 spots. Because, you know, it goes to 45 degrees and not to 30. So it's kind of... You can't just use a clock. Oops. What was that? Okay, so what... Or maybe... Let's go... 3... 5... 4... 4? Nope. That doesn't work either. Oedipus showing the way. Does anyone see anything? Huh? I don't get it. Is it like the fingers on the hands? 2, 5, 5? Doesn't really make sense either. And we can't walk up to it or interact with it. Don't really see anything. Or it could be that it just means lower right. Maybe they are pointing the way the swan should look. Yeah, that's what I thought, but like, I mean, if it's Oedipus showing the way, or maybe it's 4. Is this 4? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is actually 4, 4, 4, 4 as well. So even the number 4 under the painting. Oh, or maybe it's 2, 4, 3, 1. We haven't tried that one yet. 2, 4, 3, 1. Nope. wait, 1 is this. 1 and 3 should be right. Still doesn't do. So that's 1, 2. No. It was 2, 4, 3, 1, right? I don't know if I actually got the right number and pressed the wrong key. 2, 4, 3, 1. 4, 2, 4, 3, 1. The question is, it could also be Oedipus showing the way. Could be start at 4, 3, 1, 2. So we could try that as well. Two, 3, 4. 3, 1, 2. Okay, so just to be safe that I wasn't stupid, let's try 3, like 3, 5, 4, 3, 5, 4, and then I guess 4 from Oedipus, and now 4, 3, 5, 4. Nope. Okay. Have you done all the side quests yet? Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's anything more down this corridor, so we might have done all the rooms already. Oh, but wait, there's more down the corridor on the other side. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, so maybe... Ooh.
Empty vessels. He must be using them for something.
So clinical how they talk about... You know, those are dead humans. Empty vessels. It's just like a bottle. It's the year Oedipus created his Instagram account. Yeah. You get one for that.
Apparently the pressure's right.
Okay, there's an emergency drain. Restricted area. Do not enter.
Wow, that looks complicated.
Okay, that looks like it's another puzzle we might have to deal with. Looking forward to it. Okay. We can't really lockpick, so this is out. Notes on stabilization rituals. Trojax and its derivatives are highly unstable. Ritual stabilization tests require that all the necessary preparations be made so that Trojax is left at room temperature for a minimal amount of time, 2 to 3 minutes at the most. It is essential to store Trojax in temperature-controlled storage to ensure that the experiments may be carried out correctly. The merchandise must be moved using refrigerated containers. Phase 1. Prepare the materials required for the ritual. Inject the appropriate form of Trajax into the prepared vessel. Immediately drain the kind of 2 1-liter pouches. Phase 2. Perform the ritual immediately. Phase 3. Affix the reference to the samples. This reference will refer to the detailed description of the ritual performed. Phase 4. Remit one of the 2 samples to Dr. Dunham, who will carry out the in vivo test. Record his remarks under the corresponding reference. Okay. Okay, I guess that's stuff for a ritual. So it's magical. It's not just chemical. I wonder if Richard Dunham is related to Olivia Dunham from Fringe Division. Turn off refrigeration. Pick lock. This doesn't look too good.
You almost feel like this is a rat hideout here. But it's a discreet entrance.
Okay. I guess if we were someone else, we could blink across or something.
Oh, it's you. I've got a lot of work to do. Please excuse me.
Yeah. You always say that.
I don't have time for this. Sorry.
He's hiding something. But what?
I guess he doesn't want us to tell him that Wyatt has arrived. Thanks for the help. Kind Recycling List 2019.
Boston Medical Center. Barrel's funneling bodies to them and lining his own pockets then. I'm not sure Hazel'd be happy to hear she's losing money like that.
Okay, we've heard that in his room already. But I guess we never got to do anything about it. Oh.
There's no way.
Don't touch that door. Don't you have anything better to do?
It feels like something's missing.
Yeah, like a big crank wheel or something. Alright. Alright, we've walked around here already. Here's another door.
Richard's injections. He doesn't want the wrong people to find them.
Okay. Trajax storage and conservation. Trajax and its derivatives are highly unstable. To preserve its properties, Trajax must be kept at a temperature that is suited to its formula. Keeping it at this temperature for an extended period of time may alter or destroy the drug's molecular structure, making it lethal for the vessels. What? That sentence doesn't make sense. Like, keeping it at this temperature is important, or not keeping that temperature up, may alter or destroy it. Right? The pneumatic tube system used to transport the doses refrigerates them and automatically keeps them at the right storage temperature. It is essential to store trajects in temperature-controlled storage at the right temperature for each compound in order to ensure that the experiments and consumption may be carried out correctly. Store between 9 and 10 centigrade. Molecular alteration, lower threshold. Alright. So I guess we have to fix the temperature somewhere. That's DA. MG is the next one. Okay, so we can take 2 doses of MG. Wait, did it say different temperatures for the others? Not you. You. Yeah, 7 to 10. So the question is, do we have to do anything about the temperature? Or is it because we say send MG that it already uses the right temperature? Okay, let's just have a look if we maybe can find that light. Okay, that's the end, I guess. We can find
storage room, huh?
Richard anywhere. Ah, okay, that's a safe place. It's good to know. Consumable lockpicking tool. Didn't we have something earlier? What's this? Infrared scanner. I take it the infrared scanner lets us tell the temperature of something? Inventory. QR codes. Oh, we saw a QR code somewhere earlier. Here.
Deneb Osborne, Boston, Jefferson Library. That's for the Hartford Warlocks then. The hunters had better not get their hands on these addresses. Sylvia Ortiz, Boston. 1 Nashua Street. We supply the prints too, obviously. The hunters had better not get their hands on these addresses.
Okay, so that's what this is for. We have to pull off the labels, I guess.
Wyatt. No address. Surprising. The hunters had better not get their hands on these addresses.
Cotopates, I guess is, I think, how they pronounced it. Okay, so I guess remove this one. Remove this one. Remove this one.
There we go.
Good. We've removed some suspicious items. Okay, that was a nice little puzzle. And we could theoretically lockpick these, I guess, and ruin them. Oh no, I guess since we have 0 security, even the lockpicks won't help. Or wait, are lockpicks maybe they're items you use to increases your security rating by 1 for the next interaction. So the problem is we only have 2 lockpick kits. So it's not as if we can do anything. Okay, and these souvenirs restore willpower. Oh, but this one eliminates 2 hunger. You know what? We can do that. It's no matter if we do it now or later. And at least we don't have to eat someone for it. That was where Beryl was. Is there anything else here? Don't think so. Okay, and where is the wheel? I don't know what we're going to do with the pipe system, but So I guess we'll try to solve the issue upstairs. So we know we need... I think I know. Since Richard is not here to talk to. So we need Trajax MG. And I think we need 2 doses.
I already took a dose of Trajax.
Okay, so I guess we can only... Okay, can we take another one? Okay. That should be fine. So the question is if it has any effect if we missed something with the temperature. Or if that was just flavor text. I'm worried. I don't want to kill her. Well, let's try to be quick. Where was his office? Manager here. Oh, I guess we sent it to the wrong place. Where did it get sent? Here?
A pneumatic tube system that connects with the basement, it looks like.
So where did it go? Okay.
There's gotta be something that will make her come out. Come on. Come out of there now.
No, you're going to hurt me.
She's not really subtle. Like, come on, come out of there now. So the problem I have, it says that the pneumatic tube system keeps it cool. that you don't want to interrupt it. So I don't think you want to grab this into your pocket and carry it up and put it in the tube here. But then where does this other one end up? It's complicated. I can't find stuff. So it's not here. Was there one in here? No. We still don't have a solution for over there. But also there's no thing there either. Nice little music.
Wow, that looks complicated. Apparently the pressure's right.
How would she even know that? Can you imagine the smell? No buttons to push, no nothing. I guess that's just a few reserve rats for if we need blood. So where does this go?
Richard Barrel. Storage room. This looks like a pneumatic communication system.
Ah. So how do we get it to Richard? Huh. Malkav clan is known for the mastery of plumbing and pressure measurements. Yeah. Oops. I might have just ruined it. So how do I control where it goes, or how do I find it?
What could be hiding behind it?
I told you to find Wyatt. We don't have much time.
I told you where Wyatt is.
Sorry.
But you're saying you don't have time.
Boston Medical Center. VA Boston Healthcare System. Huh. So that's who we're selling our empty donors to. Smart.
Was that subtitle half French? Oops. Okay. I'm not sure I'm going to do anything anymore today, and it's getting really late. We've actually run 2 hours longer than we usually do. So I'll do one quick trip around if I see anything obvious. And then I think we'll call it a day for today.
That must be how they supply the Trajects into the injection room.
Two hours longer as you usually do is basically exactly as long as you usually do. Oh, here it is. Okay. Now I just have to make her not believe that it's poison.
If only she'd calm down.
Oh, she actually seems to be using it.
I feel like I'm completely at peace. At last.
Yeah, great. Now go join the others. Now!
Yes, You're right.
We did it! Okay. I guess that worked out.
Do you know we almost left without you?
But
No buts. Go join the others on the double.
Alright. That's a good little success to end the stream on, I think. Let's see if we can see what happens with her. Oh, I guess they go here and wait. Okay. Alright, so I guess that's it for today. We've solved one little puzzle. And so we don't get no, this is the wrong one. Let's just take a quick walk back to the elevator. And go back to that room with the big safe. Thanks for the applause, by the way. Well, that means the game is exciting to you if it keeps you playing longer. Yeah. Actually, last time, I don't think I went as late as this. I think I went the regular time, but I forgot my break last time. And just went through. And this time, since I went 2 hours longer, technically I should have done a second break. Wait, this is the wrong way? But yeah, the question is, are we also supposed to destroy the Trajects? That's maybe what all these gears and wheels are for. But who knows? But anyway, this was fun. This was interesting. Still enjoying this game greatly. And I hope you enjoyed it too. Let me push this button. Alright, so, yeah, this is it for this Sunday. We'll be playing same time next week. So that means, again, starting at 5 p.m. Central European Summer Time, aka 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, on Sunday mornings / in Europe Sunday afternoons, of course. So if you want to see how we continue this, then you'll have to come back then. Yeah, who knows? You do. Good point. Yeah, you've played it already. You do. And thanks, it was great to have you here, and thanks for the tip to how to avoid the bug. I don't want to... yeah, I don't like running into bugs. Especially if they break the game and make me do it again. You know, replayability is one thing, but, you know, I want to get through one playthrough first. Alright, everyone have a really great week. Oh, and I should probably check if there's anyone we can raid on right now. Let's see. Oh, Tony has gone off to stream. Then of course Tony gets a raid. I hope you'll be coming along. Let me just mute the game audio so I can go to Tony's stream without feedback. But yeah, so Tony is a common viewer and a streamer. He streams a lot of old games coming from of old Mac games, and he plays them on an original Mac from the late 90s. So this will be interesting to see what is playing today. I hope I'm typing that right. Okay, no, I didn't type that right. Good start to the raid. Oh, okay. What? Okay, let's just copy the name and try again. Pro streamer, you see. Pro streamer. Okay. What did I write differently? I have no idea. Anyway, thank you for being here. Hopefully see you again next week. It was fun. I love having people to chat with. And this game is amazing. So, hopefully see you soon. Have a great week. If you have to work, if you have the week off, whatever, I hope it goes really well. You know, go out there, empty those vessels, find those rare vintages. You know what I mean. Bye-bye.